Okay, so here's going to be a little bit of an example. If you are a 3PL provider out there and you are dealing with a bunch of different customers, especially if you are working with customers in the e-commerce space that come from Shopify stores or other commerce sites, because this type of thing happens a lot with smaller brands. What you see on my screen right now is basically a type of representation of what you would have in your WMS. You have your customer name, you have the SKU, you have a description of what it is, and most people will operate with these three kind of columns or this type of data in their WMS. But the challenge you're going to have with this sometimes is that you're going to have different customers. So I have a customer here, I have a customer here, and I have another customer here, for example, that actually have the same SKU. Now, of course, because of the format that I'm using here, this is not very likely, but if someone is using something like 1000 or A100 or anything that could be very generic that they might have set up quickly in an app, you most certainly can get the same SKU representation from multiple accounts. And because of the fact that validation with a lot of WMSs typically happens at that customer level, so making sure that the SKUs are unique within a customer, you can end up having duplication. And depending on how you get your reports out or what different tables are available, this can get actually really messy to work with, or it can cause you to have to do a lot of data manipulation when you really don't want to have to. So what I always recommend is making sure that you have some type of customer ID. Ideally, alphanumeric if you can. It'll make it so you have a way more have a lot higher chance of variability. And what you want to do is just create more of a unique SKU for reporting. Now, whether you can make this the master SKU, which would be ideal so that you can use it all throughout your system. But if your brand doesn't want to do it, you may have custom fields that you have access to. And all you would do is use something super easy. So this works in Google. It also works in Excel, but I mean, you can do it with a lot of other more advanced data manipulation tools. But this is just to show you how easy it can be done. Text join, right? You're going to pick your delimiter, which is what you want to put in between. So for me, I would always recommend the pipe. And I say the pipe just because almost no one uses it and it's pretty safe most of the time as opposed to an underscore or a hyphen. Then you want to just leave any kind of issue. If it's empty, you shouldn't have anything empty. And then I want to pick my two things. So I'm going to pick my customer ID and I'm going to pick my actual SKU number, and then I'm going to round this out. And you can see that, for example, now I have a very unique SKU. So even for these ones that are actually the same core SKU, when you look at the numeric structure, because of the fact that you've added in a customer ID, that means that any reports that I generate that are working just with this type of data in there will now be able to be referenced very easily to the right customer. And you can make sure that then your movement of goods, that your inventory, that your on hands, that anything that you could be doing is actually going to be unique without having to pull in other data fields. So that's just a super simple way that you can add more dimension and get more value from your systems. I do this kind of stuff all the time, from kind of entry level e-commerce type systems all the way up into retail kind of enterprise style stuff, because you can always get more value by creating structures in your data that you can quickly separate. Because now if I wanted to split this out after the fact, you can just use functions, whether it's in a BI tool like Power BI, whether it's in a spreadsheet tool, whether it's in some type of data analytics type platform like Alteryx. You can just use a split function to actually pull apart at that specific delimiter that you set, and you are good to go now with having two sets of unique data, one being the actual SKU that your customer might obviously be using, and then the other one being the customer ID that you assign. So super easy tip to start the day today.